Okay.
Good enough?
All right.
Close enough? Am I in
Yeah.
that shot over there, or am I?
You're in. Yeah.
All right.
Looks like everything is working. Recording. Recording?
Yes.
All right.
Recording.
Good deal.
We are here on a Wednesday afternoon after CBC and World Beer Cup at Bottle Shop 48 in Tempe.
And it's popping right now.
I wanted to welcome you to Tempe, and I understand that there are traffic cameras now in Tempe. Yeah,
Gross.
I know. I live here, man. I don't know. And they need to put them on smaller streets, not on the big streets. The big streets are designed differently than the side street that I live on.
Are they speed cams or are they red lights?
I think they're both.
I'll be careful.
Yeah.
They'll be dead. Oh, that was a Star Wars line.
Arizona is a wildly beautiful place, brimming with over 100 brewing companies. I'm Rob Fulmer, the Executive Director of the Arizona Craft Brewers Guild. I'm joined by Deputy Director Andrew Bauman. Together we cover the state, bringing you the best of what's happening at our breweries and beyond. Welcome to Arizona Beer Frontier. Much success this week in Indianapolis, wouldn't you say?
It was a trip that was probably the most worthwhile CBC I've done.
Wow, that's saying a lot.
I had a lot of vendors that want to be Ally members.
Great.
Got to talk to our cohorts.
Yes.
Regarding the struggles of guilds and how to overcome them and what the future holds. So that's fun. It was great.
And we did a live broadcast, or a little bit of broadcast. My intention was to do more of those short 20-minute ones, and
that never happens.
No, I mean it could have happened if we would have had the discipline to do one on the first day, like we did in the past, while we're just in our hotel room. And there was another opportunity before the awards where literally everybody was at our place having beers.
Right.
Trying to get rid of all the beer that we purchased during the week. Thinking that we were going to have casual beers back at the place.
And no,
Yeah.
I think I drank one beer at our apartment, maybe two.
I tried to drink one a day.
I tried, I couldn't. I had one on my nightstand that was closed and just sitting there.
Just staring at you?
To get to bed, like, I'll just drink this, catch up on emails. Oh no, the second I hit the bed, it was good night.
Yeah. So I think there's a couple things that we need to talk about. Let's just get to the awards. Like, just get that out of the way.
Let's get to the awards.
You have the awards listed somewhere.
I do.
We had a couple of people who were there to accept awards. And we had somebody who accepted on behalf of the brewery, who used to work at the brewery. It was kind of cool.
Yeah.
And we just had one, and that wasn't there, and kind of all of our awards came in succession, more or less. It was really hard to keep up.
There was one that got announced while I was up on stage, and I was like, oh, I didn't get a picture.
I didn't get a picture either because I was taking pictures of you guys.
Yeah.
But what I'd like to say is, like, again, as you know, like, the last time we won World Beer Cup Awards, and the last time we did our Arizona Craft Beer Awards, the things that Arizona does well is everyday classic style beers.
It is quite interesting.
Like, at the world class level. We didn't catch any gold this year, not to do any spoilers, but the fact that we got them for beers that you can buy off the shelf
every day
says a lot.
Yeah.
It means that we're doing that part of production right, and we're not really a production state, are we? And compared to, I mean, there are breweries, there are single breweries that make more beer than we do as a
And very little beer leaves Arizona once it's brewed. It stays here, it goes into people's faces here. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. All right. So you have the list. Let's just go
I have the
through it.
list. We can start with our friends at Six Bird Cider.
Yes.
Six Bird Cider won a bronze medal for their apple pie a la mode in botanical or spiced cider.
Okay, so that category we should explain is the first time that have brought cider in. So there's a limited amount of categories, and I'm sure.
Like
they would've-
4?
Yeah. Well, they did some for acidic apple or non-acidic apple. I don't know.
Sweet.
Sweet. I don't know. They have different criteria. Obviously, the different types of things you can add. I think.
Sweet, dry, spiced fruit.
Okay, so
I just made that up, but I think that's right.
anyway, I'm sure there would have a lot more entries. Oregon just ran the table on that, like a cidery, but it was good to get our name in there. And you shared with me, and I had no idea why they changed their name to what they changed it. They were Crush Craft.
Right.
I don't know if the Crush or the Craft got them in trouble, or the combination of the two. I don't happen to know the California brewery they alluded to that gave them a cease and desist.
The Instagram for Six Bird Cider yesterday told the story how they got a cease and desist for the name Crush Craft. And then they were flipping the bird to that letter and said, let's just call it Six Birds, because there's 3 partners and we each have 2 hands, so you get all 6 birds. It's kind of a funny story.
Oh yeah, totally. I'm looking up the category because I texted Jeff Allworth about Oregon. Tannic and non-tannic.
Okay.
That's
interesting.
Yeah. So it was cool that we captured that. It's a Tempe win. We're in Tempe. I'm living in Tempe.
Yeah, it's great.
But we shared medals across the state, right? So what's the next one?
Well, let's see. And Six Bird is a great supporter of the guild and what we do. So it's
yeah,
nice
they attend our festivals. They're the first people I call when we have something in the hopper on the legislative stuff.
Yeah. Next winner was Barrio Brewing Company with Rojo in the English style brown ale.
English style brown ale. I know there was a little discussion about that.
Yeah, a little bit. Entering beer into different categories has nothing to do with what your label says.
Right. And for the Great American Beer Fest, and more so the World Beer Cup, those standards, first of all, they're very technical.
They both change every year.
They change every year, and it's a pull and push, right? If marketing is pushing styles a certain direction, either the standards move with them or they resist them. Oftentimes, something that starts out as a classic example falls out of the category. And that's exactly what happened in one case, what we'll get to. But
oh, cool.
Barrio Rojo Brown. It's won as a Scottish amber. It's won as an amber of other sorts.
An ESB?
ESB, yes. This time it's an English style. So I don't know what to say about it except ambers are very versatile beers. Let's talk about that. Probably one of the easiest food pairings that you can get is an amber beer. There's a little bit of sweetness, a little bit of bitterness. The color is beautiful.
Got that sweetness from the malt.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So,
even a well-attenuated one has sweetness left in it.
Yeah. Yes. And just kind of balances out whatever you're eating, or can accentuate. Like you could have a nice sweet piece of cake, and it will kind of nullify the mild bitterness of that beer.
Right. Yeah. I mean, when I was brewing, we had an amber and a red, and it drove me crazy. But I couldn't get rid of either because they sold.
Yeah.
Both styles sold equally well, and both styles sold very well.
Right.
So how do you get rid of one and not push everyone over to a different beer when they already have a beer they love?
Yes. I would say that if you are serving food at your brewery, amber is kind of like the price of admission. Some amber beer. It could be a brown, could be something that kind of flirts in the middle as exemplified by Barrio Rojo. I think that's what the demographic of that kind of environment is clamoring for. It's what that's the first brewery a lot of people go to, or the brewery like, oh, I'll go to a brewery because I have food and I can eat whatever I want.
They've been around forever. They do a great job on their marketing. They are mentioned in news articles all the time. So if someone's looking up brewery near me,
yeah. So I do know Barrio Rojo has beaten has gotten a gold in the World Beer Cup for Scottish Style Amber, ahead of the classic statewide known Kilt Lifter.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
anyway, Luke from who used to work at the brewery, and he's now with
Yakima Chief.
Yakima Chief Hops, accepted the award on their behalf, and that kind of escaped our view because they read them off, and then the people come up, and if you don't immediately recognize, or you already know they're not there, you don't look, and they just do the photos. And
When someone's not there, I don't go up on stage and accept it for them because that's not my place. But if you had history of working there and you're excited for your buddies, then yeah, it makes sense to go up.
Yeah,
Not that I'm not excited.
I have gone
but
up.
I haven't worked there.
I've gone up accepted back when you got the medal, or you could take it with you and you could get it back to the brewery more quickly. Sometimes you never know how many medals you're going to win or not win as a state. So sometimes I'll go up just to get a picture, so we have a picture that we can reference for the media, so they don't have to pick one out of random Google images from years past.
Right.
So that's what. But I usually, I always ask if I can do it on their behalf.
Sure.
But thankfully we haven't had to do that.
I was down there watching the awards and looking for the next winners, and I was like, "There's Luke on stage."
So yeah, but you got in a couple pictures as a group. You were asked, you said yes.
So the way that the medals work is there's fake medals or fake plaques on stage that they use for photo ops, and then they mail the medals out, or the awards, I don't know what they look like, out to the brewery.
They're essentially the same. They are more of a marketing piece instead of a certificate, or I think they used to have like an acrylic thing. I mean, they look sharp.
Yeah, they're cool.
They will stand out. I mean, there's definitely that focus on that award for that, which is something to consider. Like, people do like to wear the medals afterwards. They had sashes.
They sure did.
I like that. You don't like it as much as I do. I think it's great.
I mean, it definitely sticks out more than metal hanging around your neck.
Yeah.
And if you're going out after a win, you want to party, people will give you high fives immediately.
Right.
Look at that, there's a guy with a sash.
It's probably a really great look.
There's a dude with a sash.
It's probably a great look in Nashville where they have all those bachelorette parties. And I've seen those at bachelorette parties for sure. The bride. Yeah. So.
What are you drinking there, Rob?
I am drinking amber beer here.
You sure are.
I'm trying to remember what it is.
Phoenix Beer Co.'s Morenci Copper.
Morenci Copper. There you go. And just, there's no brewery in Morenci. But Johnny.
Not yet.
Johnny Urea is a Morenci native. He is a multi-generational, and he used to work at Phoenix Beer Co.
Which would be called Beer Johnny for anyone who knows him.
Johnny Beer.
Johnny Beer.
Yeah. Or Beer Johnny.
I guess.
Anyway, what are you having?
I have, seventh inning, starts with the letter C, from Simple Machine.
Oh,
Seventh inning crush.
I saw
Seventh inning crash.
It is that red, white, and blue Major League Baseball, except with a beer on it.
Yeah.
Yeah, you could only confuse it if you saw the colors in the rectangle. But I'm sure they use different Pantone colors. I'm positive of that. It doesn't matter. On this menu here at
It's off by this much.
The color grading on the menu is
the
very
little
bluish.
tiny square.
It's very bluish.
Everything's blue.
That TV was decommissioned a long time ago for a menu.
Yeah, I mean bonus TV.
So what's the next winner there?
Did we mention we're at Bottle Shop 48?
We did at the top of the show.
Oh, good. Okay, just making sure.
I don't think anyone thinks this is my vast wine cellar.
What was the next winning beer? We also had Railhead Red from Yard Brewing Company. That won in the extra special bitter category.
Yes, they have won multiple times in ESB.
With that beer
With
in
that
that
beer.
category.
Yes,
Yep.
100%. It actually does say ESB on the label. And when I talked to Ken Wilson and Kelly Hanseth a long time ago, they've changed it from extra special bitter to extra special beer. because they want to de-emphasize the bitter. I don't know what it is about people in bitter. Like, I have tasted some of the most bitter beers, and people just don't seem to think they're bitter.
It's a confusing term for consumers.
Yeah.
They think bitter, they think IPA. And so if you put that on a label, they're going to be like, ooh, yike. Yeah. Certainly wouldn't happen if you put that beer in your mouth. You wouldn't go, ooh, yike. You'd be like, oh,
No.
how nice.
It's it adds to it clears the finish mix. It's the word for it is moreish. It makes you want to have more.
Okay.
It does. I mean,
Cool.
like, well, it's all gone. It's not out of my
Right.
mouth. I got to have some more.
Yeah.
But interestingly, there was some questioning about that because Sierra Nevada won the gold in the ESB for Sierra Nevada Pale Ale,
Really?
which is an American pale ale by origin and by marketing.
Yes.
And it is a classic example. And there was some questions about that. And this is where we're talking about where things gravitate. And I actually happened to run into Terrence Sullivan from Sierra Nevada, long time with Sierra Nevada. He actually recognized me from going to Sully Drippings, and I reminded him I was at your beer camp a long time ago. And I didn't have a beard. Anyway,
Well, when brewers are looking at what category to put it in, there's a lot of things to consider. You do want to be on the edge, the high edge of the category, to make so that your beer stands out in judging. If
Right.
they all taste the same, it's hard to decide which one. If you go into a different category and you still fit all the characteristics,
sure.
but it's a little different, might stand out. Judges might like it. Judges might say that's not appropriate and mark you down. It's a roll in the dice.
Right.
And then you look at how many beers were entered last year in this category. Well, the American Pale Ale category had 284,
Right.
and the ESB category had 27.
Right.
Yeah, maybe we should do that. I don't know.
Well, according to Terrence, and this is from reading his comments online, is like we got tired of losing in our category, and we looked at the style guidelines, as one should, when you're entering, and they felt that they were close enough on some of the qualities of it, and
Clearly they were.
Again, the categories have been shifting, and I think what throws people off is they have an expectation of the color of an ESB, and if you understand how the colors of beer sort of change, especially in this hazy age, right? That if you could get past the color, and that's just your baggage, not necessarily the baggage of the style guideline. I don't know. Like, I mean, if we held it up to the SRM guide, maybe it would fail. I don't know. But like, that's really, to me, the thing that I think people are hung up on.
Color,
Except for 4 decades almost of marketing that it's an American Pale Ale, right? I mean, but good for them. Good for them. It's good for it's these kinds of when it's a quality beer and it wins something outside of its category, it shows that this is a moving target and it's informed by the growth and changes in the beer industry.
And what we're saying is that Lumberyard's Whalehead Red came in second to Sierra Nevada Pale Ale.
Right.
That's saying something.
Well, it's especially saying something because that beer has also meddled many times. So it's not like, like that batch was like kick ass. Like this is a long slog of them. They probably don't always enter as an ESB. I'm guessing
they don't always enter it.
Right. So that was a great win. It was good to see Ken there. Came up on stage. You were up on stage with the flag, and
He was
kinda
stoked.
cool.
That was nice. That was nice.
Yeah.
And another note is, we don't know how many breweries entered beers. We don't know how many entries each brewery had. This is not information that any awards will share.
Generally
it's
speaking,
just
no. Yeah.
not a thing. Like
No.
I might, if I really tried, be able to find out how many breweries entered from Arizona, but they'll definitely not tell me who.
Yeah, and that's great. That's the way it should be.
Yeah.
Oddly enough, I generally don't. Hey, it's Adam.
Hey, Adam.
Just a little
Yeah.
podcast. Yeah. We're
Thought
just
I'd chat a little bit.
It's cool in here because you have like some just natural bar noise.
Yeah.
It's fun. I've done the podcast with Alex in here before. It's pretty cool.
yeah.
Cool.
We're just we're trying to move it around. We're trying to test out the wireless mics and all that other stuff. So
Hell yeah.
yeah, but we'll carve out a little minute or
time
two
to
with you.
say hi.
Oh, absolutely. I
Tell-
had to be at Ennis opened for me, thankfully.
Yeah.
And I was running behind. I was like, hey, can I give you keys this morning and can you open the shop for me? I'll be there, I swear to God, in 25 minutes.
Hey, no worries. Yeah, it was good. It was good to see that all happen. That was actually the first in-person award collection that we had.
Right.
You were just reading off an order that you wrote down.
I went from bronzes up to silvers. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Okay.
The next one was Dragoon Amber,
Dragoon Amber.
which won a silver for Dragoon Amber.
Amber, you say?
I say it. You say it. In the Scottish style ale category.
Yeah, we are not wanting for fine examples of Scottish style ales.
Or reds.
Right. Yeah,
for sure.
So in the past, obviously, Kilt Lifter has won many categories or many medals, many times. I don't think they've ever won a gold though. Honestly, I think Saddle Mountain has won. I don't think they've won a gold at World Beer Cup.
Okay.
Saddle Mountain has won multiple golds,
Yes.
multiple years. Dragoon, I think this is their first award
With Amber?
with period.
Oh, huh.
In-
Interesting.
in the,
well, congratulations then.
in the
You're
Brewers
now a
Association-
World Beer Cup winner.
I know, it's a good way to get out of the gate.
For sure.
And again, just their production beers, it's a longer slog. You're not going to win the experimental categories generally. It's good to see them work to their strengths with a product that they're not necessarily known for, but it is something that I'm sure has bigger sales than most people know.
Consistently.
Yeah. Everyone's familiar with Dragoon IPA, which I'm
Sure.
a big fan of, and I will alternate between that and their IPA and their Pilsner.
They also have their Florecita Juicy IPA.
Yeah, that's
It's really like the 3,
right.
4.
I think
Better
I
in
think if
regular
you
production.
were to go into again those restaurant-y type places,
If only someone from Dragoon was here.
he's here.
Yeah, but he's wearing a Arsenal shirt, so he can't come on the pod. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Hey, you went during the during Indianapolis CBC. You went and saw Hotspur.
We had a little break between the end of the... Anyways, it just worked out that I had a little bit of time to head over and watch a Tottenham Hotspur's match at their local club, fan club watch place. And I left early to come back for the awards, so.
Right on. And we have Ken walking through here.
Ken Wilson, Barrio Brewing
What's
Company.
up, guys? How you doing?
Well, we're trying to do this with wireless, so I don't know if you're
Good.
coming through. Maybe a little bit.
Here, I'm gonna let you hold on to this.
Want me to say anything? Hi.
We were just
You're
talking
working
about
out?
your win.
Oh, thank you very much. It was great. It's nice to be recognized. It's a big category and
But you-
amongst your peers and everyone else.
That one pops up every once in a while.
Yeah. That
And-
Red's been very, very, very well awarded.
Your porter,
Yeah.
which is not generally packaged, right? I mean,
No, generally it's just a brewery only item.
Right. So it's just we were just talking about how the ambers are something that Arizona does particularly well at, ambers and reds, and how that's product of a longer manufacturing process, and how you guys were right in there again, and you lost to Sierra Nevada Pale Ale. We talked about how the categories gravitate and change, and are I'm sure that category to be looked at again, and
Yeah, we've always entered in that ESB category.
Yeah.
From its inception, from the first time we entered it, it's always been in that ESB category.
Oh, it has?
Always.
I was
We've never
speculating
put it anyplace else. It's
I
always
was
where it's been.
speculating that you might have done it as an Irish red or a Scottish.
Yeah, I mean the brewers determined that was the category, and
Yeah.
that's been where it's lived its whole time, and that's how we've advertised it in the past. But is it a traditional English style ESB? Not really, but I don't know.
You're saying that really, yeah.
It wins. It wins is all I can tell you. It tastes delicious.
Scoreboard, baby.
Yeah, scoreboard. Yeah, exactly right. Yeah, that's probably our most awarded beer right there. So.
Yeah.
And speaking of awards, at the end of May, 1st of June, we're bringing back one time only, 20 barrel batch of Naughty Pine Pale Ale.
Nice. Cool.
Yeah, should be exciting. Which was a gold medal winner at GABF. So,
Yeah.
but bringing it back just for that, we all like pale, but we're just going to do that one blast and then put it out there.
Nostalgia.
Yeah, a little nostalgia.
Right.
So,
So it's interesting because Sierra Nevada Pale Ale has been the stalwart of Sierra Nevada, although I don't think
Absolutely.
it sells as well as it used to. right? I mean, comparatively now, I think the hazies are taking
There's
over.
just a lot more
Yeah.
beers out there.
There's a lot more. I mean, yeah. I mean,
and you guys won a medal for that for Naughty Pine, but the market wasn't listening to. If you didn't already have a saturation of that product,
right.
The market here especially wasn't having it. They were on other things.
Oh yeah.
But
I mean,
maybe now.
maybe now. I don't
things
know.
gravitate back
Well,
up.
the thing.
came in as the silver right behind Sierra Nevada Pale Ale.
Yeah, which is remarkable. So, I mean, but that pale category, just in grocery in Arizona, it's down 11%. But I felt like when we were in Indiana, I saw a lot of pale ale. And Sun King Osiris Pale was just great. I was going to bring a couple cans home, but after you and I had dinner, I went home and I went back to my room and drank the last two watching basketball. So they did not make the flight home, but they were appreciated. So shout out to Sun King, man.
Right on. Yeah.
Yo.
Yeah. What did you think? What did you think of Indianapolis?
I was born there. I'm from there,
Indiana
but
boy.
yeah. So Bob Knight basketball camp and all this kind of thing. I thought from a convention space, it was good. I thought Tuesday's seminars were probably better than I've seen in the last few years, as far as quality and depth of conversation and what they were kind of bringing to the table that I felt benefited members. And then overall, I think Indy downtown had a lot to do and see, and their brewery scene I think is pretty good. So I think it was an appropriate choice looking at where to place that. And I think it was pretty convenient. Airport's far away, but that's a lot of cities. We're spoiled here in Phoenix by Sky Harbor being right in our backyard for all of us.
Food prices.
Yeah, lodging and food prices were great.
Very low. Very low. Easy to get around. Transportation.
Yeah.
I didn't feel like I was going to die walking on the streets. Or taking a Lime or a scooter.
Yeah, no, I felt safe the whole time. I had a nice hotel. I thought people were really nice too. Like just the people in general that you'd walk by, like, good morning or.
Well, I think they had this expectation that they were going to underperform for us. Like literally, like, oh, we're so glad you're here. Hope you're having a great time. Like not necessarily breweries. I'm talking about the bars and restaurants. They were like, oh, we heard you guys were coming. I hope it's everything you expected. And
yeah. I went
about their town.
Yeah, I went to a place that I was probably the only CBC participant that went to this bar, but it's called Behringer's, and it's a place that my dad and I used to go for tenderloin sandwiches. So
yeah,
and I was old enough at the time to drink a couple beers with him. But when he was younger and playing softball, all the Indiana Bell guys would be there, and I was trying to explain to a 22-year-old bartender what Indiana Bell was or the Bell system, and I'm like, hey, I'm good. I'll have another Osiris Pale Ale, and I'll do that tenderloin. So, but it was cool to see some of those old places like that were kind of been around since 1890 and things like that. So, cool to see a little bit of history. But yeah, I thought it was a good location. I talked to Sereni. I'm like, we need to bring this to Arizona, baby. Well, when we did it before, I'm like, dude, it's 100 years ago.
It was literally the 90s, right?
Literally the 90s.
96.
Yeah. I was selling imports in
98.
'96, so I missed it. But
Anyway,
overall good trip for us. I really enjoyed my NIL seminar. I've heard back from
Name, image,
4 different
likeness.
people. Yeah, name, image, and likeness in breweries, and I've had 2 breweries already said they've gotten into the influencer page and started working with athletes, and so I think that's been great. It's been really well received. I was happy about that.
And you talked to some athletes when we were at one of our events and helped them.
Yeah, there was a big college rugby tournament in town, and I just happened to strike up a conversation with some of the Harvard women's rugby players in the lobby of the Omni Hotel.
Right.
I was wearing my NAU shirt that said NIL for all, and I said, "Hey, are you guys on this platform?" I said, because I asked about a tournament, and then I was like, "You guys should look in this and contact some of the vendors in there." I said, "I'm sure that people want to work with you." So I'm just trying to. My wife reminds me I'm not Jerry Maguire, but I'm like, hey, maybe one day. I'm pretty excited. It's a passion project for me for sure.
I was just gonna say, like, hey, honey, I got to go over and talk to these women. They look like they're on a team sport.
Yeah, it was. Yeah. You didn't need to mention it was creeping.
work.
I was just walking by. Okay.
There were 10 rugby players in a big group, so I don't think
And it was in a hotel lobby, so it wasn't like, it was a hotel lobby. Everyone's got their logos on. I'm wearing my badge with my name, and I'm like, here, scan this QR code in case I do something inappropriate and send it to me in email. But no, it was really rewarding doing that, and I appreciate coming by for the.
Well, we were in Madison. We there was an NCAA women's thing at this first draft. And like I'm standing, and there are like taller women than me surrounding me, and I just like, hey, I just got to send this to my wife. This beer industry is changing a lot.
But overall, I thought it was a really good conference because sometimes you can get presentations that are kind of 3 feet of water that you're standing out of, and sometimes or they're way over the top. And I felt like there was kind of something for a little bit of everyone there, and everything I attended on Monday or Tuesday, the first day, I was just great, And then I did ours on Tuesday, and then Wednesday there were a couple I hit, but I thought overall the conference really delivered on those pieces. Because sometimes it's kind of hit or miss. There were, where you come in, you walk out, it's not for me. Everything I went to really kind of queued it up that was good for our brewery and myself.
That's a great point. We're going to have a fuller discussion of that when you step away, but I just wanted to say congratulations again.
I appreciate it.
In our home state. And you know how we just kind of get nervous about, the awards and stuff. It was good to see you there and excited about it.
Yeah, it was great. And I was just sitting there. I'm like, I think we're in this category. I'm like looking at my phone, thinking about making dinner reservations. I'm like, oh, all right, fantastic. This is the greatest. So, anyway, I'll let you guys get back to it. I gotta run.
Have a Miller Lite grilled brat.
Wow, this is a real treat.
I
was not expecting any of this today.
Look at that.
Look at this.
Broken.
All right, gentlemen. Well, thank you so much for having me on, and and congratulations to Barrio and all of our other affiliates.
These are an acquired taste.
Okay.
And once you pop, you can't stop, so be careful.
I know. Anyway, Dragoon, Barrio, ourselves, Six Bird Cider, and Saddle Mountain. Yeah, no, I was getting there, but I appreciate it, but no. And Saddle Mountain, and all these, what do these 4 breweries all have in common in the state? They're all places that I would go in and as I like to say, I would have another one because they're all really reliable, great ownership, great beers, and congratulations to all of them.
And there you have it.
There you go.
Awesome.
Thanks,
I think
guys.
We're going to take a break
All right.
because I need a beer. And these are weird.
I know. I think they put stuff on there, and it's not really even just style. It's just I would put these in the ESB category.
Eat some bitch. We are back, and we have gotten into the grilled brat Miller Lite Pringles.
Which people might say, how? And then I say, a little bit of smoke.
Let me tell you, these do taste like boiled brats.
I'm eating more than I want to just because I'm hungry.
But they are an acquired taste. If, you didn't say what this was, people are like, these are a little off. Because people probably aren't used to brat spices.
Well, I want to go back and properly introduce the beer I was having, or am having. This is the Simple Machine 7th Inning Quench.
Quench. Okay. Is it quenching?
It's mighty fine. Mighty fine.
So, these are limited editions, so I don't...
Wow. You should have left them closed and sold them on eBay.
I know. Here's the thing about these kind of things. When people say craft beer jumped the shark because we added all these crazy flavors, to some degree I see what they're talking about, but we weren't the first.
Last year, during Dry January, Miller Lite released their mints. Mm-hmm. Like little Altoid tin that had Miller Lite on the front, beer-flavored mints. It didn't taste like beer at all.
No.
But yeah, those collabs, those combos, they're a thing.
Potato chips, food engineering has been changing foods into other foods for a long time. So it's not unreasonable if you're an alien and you drop down on this planet for someone to say, hey, if they can make potatoes taste like other foods, why not make beer taste like other beverages or other foods? I know it's crazy.
Don't get dropped off on this planet, though.
I know. So we had one more medal to talk
We
about.
did have one more medal.
And-
I want to pull it up so I get the name right. This
Okay.
is Now What by Saddle Mountain Brewing Company. It was a silver in the gold or blonde ale category, which is a big one.
Yes, it is. It is. And we talked about how they had one. For a while they were like, oh, that's the one they enter. That's the one they're going to win. In the Scottish export style, or
Right.
Scottish style. amber, and but they have gone on to win with wheat in this one. So I think maybe 4 medals across 6 different beers.
Oh, I couldn't even get close to guessing.
But again, those are food-friendly styles. They serve delicious food there. So
Yeah.
they're a place to hang out. They're a place to have 2-3 beers, meal, and I think that's when we constantly talk about hospitality, but like that's where the sweet spot is. Right?
Beautiful patio.
Yeah.
Doing events all the time. They did a sushi beer dinner the other day.
Mm-hmm.
They're doing a beer wine dinner coming up.
Involved with community things, constantly have promotions and
Yep.
things to talk about. I mean, they have positioned themselves in that part of the valley to sort of be the hub for that, right?
For sure. Yeah.
So, but they were not there, and I texted Laura, and she's like, "I'm listening and I'm driving." I'm like, "Just get back safe." She's very excited. I've tried to call. In past, I've called her, and like, she's like, "You beat the web stream by like 10 seconds." So, I do want to talk about conference cities because we do know what's going to happen with conferences, and as you know, as you are a part of, we've tried to get the conference to Phoenix in particular for many, many years. But given, I understand that Las Vegas had a higher attendance than Indianapolis. Okay. I think though, I had a more quality experience in Indianapolis only because all the things were very close at hand.
In Vegas, I went out one night.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't even go out. I went back to my room and worked instead. It's just not my jam. It's not my scene.
A good chunk of Las Vegas was getting from your hotel, even if you were in the conference hotel, by the way, and getting to the conference center and navigating that. Like
and then trying to get to a local brewery is a $30 Uber ride, no matter where it was, which was kind of a bummer. Their guild did a great job of working with Uber and Lyft and getting some discounts. And
right, but that was only really successful for one trip.
Yeah.
I mean, so the rest you were on the hook for. In Indianapolis, like, I mean, we kind of lucked out with our Airbnb. We were like situated between the Capitol and, which we did tour. It was a fun, beautiful place. And conference center, and minutes, like 5 minutes walking, or
and then getting to the locations of a lot of the events was a walk, a scooter ride.
Right, and that conference center itself was right-sized for the 8,000 people that were there. You didn't have to walk 10 miles to the...
8,000 attendees, a couple thousand more support people.
Yeah. You didn't have to walk between huge swaths of conference rooms to get from A to B. Very easy to navigate. So the question I have is, if the attendance has been going down, and I would assume somewhat the trade show consideration, floor space. By the way, we've been denied because we didn't have enough continuous trade show space, even though we exceeded the spec.
The RFP, yeah.
We didn't have enough hotels, and I can't even believe that. But
now, when you're saying we didn't, you're saying how long ago? When did they look at it?
Sure. I mean, it's a slide scale. They've been comparing us to the last time they had it here in '96 or '98 or something like that, and expecting that to be a constant. And then, I mean, at the height, I mean, when 15,000, 18,000?
Oh yeah.
I mean, yeah, it might have been at the bleeding edge, but there weren't a lot of conference centers that could accommodate. And if the size of the conference is going to change, downward trending, and then that's something that we all have to be okay with, because I do think the richness of the experience is different. It can be different. We're going to Philadelphia next year. That is not an inexpensive city. There are people who are used to driving. By the way, the East Coast drives more. They won't travel to the West Coast.
Oh, right.
West Coast doesn't travels more, but not as much to the East Coast. People are expected to drive there. They're going to pay $60, $80, $100 a night for parking in certain parts of Philadelphia.
Yeah, like by the conference center.
Yeah, yeah. And that, by the way, at the height of CBC, that was a split conference experience.
Up, down, so is DC.
And so is Minnesota.
So is Minnesota. Like we can't hold on to that. They've changed their requirements, it seems.
I think they were more giving a reason why they didn't select that wasn't based in their criteria. I just think they decided, and for whatever reason, whatever. And then they had to come up with an answer for us. But Philadelphia will be the test. I mean, I expect it will be fairly well attended because I think people living in that quadrant of the
Eastern Seaboard
are used to that kind of expense. However, we go to San Antonio the year after that.
Oh,
Smaller city. I don't know what prices are like. I can't imagine they're the same as Philadelphia.
or Philly.
San Antonio, by the way, is in this group of San Antonio, Nashville, of these mid-sized cities that have very nice facilities that position themselves as affordable and easy to get around. So there is that, right? So after that, we go to Columbus, Ohio.
Oh my God! How do you know all these things?
I know things. They haven't signed the contract yet. This is what I'm hearing. Which is 2 hours away from Cincinnati, Cleveland. I mean, it's a smaller city, but again, marketing towards these mid-size, and we would be a mid-size.
So we're at
conference.
2028.
Yeah. The last I heard, we were in the running for 2030, and my understanding is we're going at Seattle. Both cities, high price lodging, transportation, food, beverage, and this is my concern. Is if I'm looking at the trends, we will never be in New York City. We never have. We won't be in Chicago anymore. Like 90 or 2010, I think, or 8 or 9 was the last time it was there. San Diego might be priced out. I mean,
Probably.
maybe not Orange County.
But if they're looking at Seattle, you can look at San Diego and exactly
I think
the
they
same
looked
way.
at, well, they put Seattle on the map back in the heyday. I mean, they're still on that model. So we're in that group. Los Angeles, out, I would expect. I mean, all those larger cities are.
Because of cost.
I think so.
Huh.
I think so. I mean, they might have written the contracts that they're not telling us about. I think those are out. So we may be out based on that. But hear me out. Tucson?
The National Distillers Guild had their meeting there in February.
Yep.
And the Hop Growers Association is having their
Right.
annual conference in Tucson in January.
Mm-hmm.
And the explanation is because we can golf in January.
Right. Right. I mean, I don't find Tucson to be all that more affordable than Phoenix per se, but certainly much more dense in terms of the things that we would do as
I'm thinking
brewers.
we would. One thing about Indianapolis is you could walk to several breweries
Right.
easily from that conference center.
Right.
Event, special event, venues as well. In Tucson, there's not walking anything. You can go like 6th Street area,
Yeah.
hit Tap and Bottle, hit Bacher,
Crooked Tooth.
Crooked Tooth, Corbett.
Did you walk to Barrio? I wouldn't walk to Barrio, but
No.
in a conference I might. I might take a scooter.
No.
Oh yeah.
Oh, have you been on those roads?
Well, Indy was no treat either.
Well, getting from the conference center to Barrio would be
Again, though, we're
Darn.
talking about 2030 and beyond. A lot can change.
a lot can change for sure. And I would love for it to be in Tucson.
I'm just saying that's something we need to be conscious of. We'll see how it
Because
goes.
this is the Arizona Craft Brewers Guild.
Philadelphia was an anomaly of a deal that was cut
Before, yeah.
the last time they had it there, which was, I don't know how long ago that was.
I remember.
They were also making deals on saying, because like if you remember, the AHA conference was in the same location a lot, so they were using their buying power that way. That doesn't exist anymore.
Right.
And
San
also-
Antonio was the one that got canceled in 2020.
Yeah, COVID.
So maybe there was some make-up time to do as well.
Well, I think they probably had a compelling package and it didn't change. It just got canceled, and I think that's why they're in the map. For my money, I don't need to go to Nashville for a long time, but I'm sure that's back on because...
They should have it in Nashville every year.
No!
All right, I take it back. I do like exploring new places, but Nashville is...
You've done it twice though, right?
I've done Nashville twice, yeah.
Yeah, I just don't need to go back for a while. I
Okay.
mean,
I'll go back.
yeah. Well, I mean, what am I talking about? Have I ever said no to a conference?
Right.
Nevertheless, I think it just bears watching, and for people to understand that these are things that are. I mean, we're talking about something that was negotiated a decade ago,
Yeah.
more or
I
less. I mean, you could get out of
Yeah.
it like the whole.
San Antonio? San Antonio was negotiated pretty close to a decade ago.
Yeah.
But, you know, they probably have a whole different contract this time.
Yeah.
They're not using the same contract they had in 2020.
I think the
For
entire
2027?
industry. I think the entire conference industry has changed. I think they're a lot more competitive than they used to be. I think once you started to be able to break contracts during COVID, I think there was a restructuring of a lot of things. You know, and we don't know the finances of the BA. You know,
We have found that
intimately.
in Phoenix, prices went significantly up
Yes.
after COVID and then the Super Bowl,
Super Bowl.
and never came back.
Right. Which again, so the other factor is, what if Canadian visitors don't come back? What does that do to pricing? What does that do to? I mean, I think there's a lot of people running bars and restaurants don't have an idea about what that means. I don't think they have a sense of Canadian. I mean, once in a while, it's probably over the top, but I don't think they have an understanding notionally of what international tourism, specifically the Canadian market, specifically, you know, everybody.
Asian market too,
Yeah, everybody coming
in
and,
Arizona.
your Canadian parents come down and like you're living in the United States, but you come and visit for 2 weeks, right? You're fully.
It's a lot.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think we have an understanding of that, and we've never tapped into the Mexican market that comes across to go to tournaments, and we've never really resonated as
Concerts.
an industry. Yeah, so a lot to consider on how that goes, and like. I mean, if we never had a conference from the Brewers Association, would our beer culture survive? Would our breweries survive? Of course they would. But like, you know as well as I do, you've seen what Spotlight will do for people who are really shining right now. How important that would be. The breweries that you know would step up. The breweries that you know that people are just like, oh, I heard about them. I really want to go. I really want to check them out. And what that means.
Mm-hmm.
And we were talking to an Uber driver. He's like, yeah, he doesn't like the new conference center because it's too compact, everything's there. Most people who go to regular conferences don't leave that area. I said, no, we do.
We
We
certainly
do. You know, we will have people come here and go to the far reaches of the Metro Valley, or we'll carve out time to go to Tucson, or carve out time to go to Grand Canyon.
It's an easy add-on trip.
It totally
It's an
is.
extra day. It's super simple.
Yeah, and we know we have good beer. You know, I have my only reservation is if we go through a period of downtown restructuring where I'm looking at it, Tempe with Mill Avenue, like there used to be breweries and places that we would go to, and it's kind of changed over. It got corporate, and then all of a sudden there's a bunch of empty buildings. There's no accounting for how that's going to time out.
Sure.
Downtown Phoenix right now has never been more walkable, never been more approachable.
Never had more beer.
Roosevelt Row is kind of like, between Roosevelt Row and Main Street and Mesa, like those are the two
Hubs.
Yeah.
Where you can walk to 5 different breweries in 2 blocks almost.
Sure. And there's always an area of discovery.
Us is in the conference, in the convention center.
Right. We were down there for some reason or other. I decided to walk north 3 blocks more than I ever did, and ran into a wonderful Thai restaurant that I didn't know existed. Had a whole garden area, and sat at the bar, and it was kind of a place where like I don't recognize a lot of these menu items, and not the classic Thai restaurant ones. I said, order me something. Order a bunch of things, and I'll eat it. I love that.
I can see if the conference was at the Phoenix Convention Center, Angel's Trumpet would have 2 events every day. They have the space. It's cool as hell.
Yeah.
They know how to curate beer and buy beer from people that are sponsoring.
Walter Station,
Walter Studio.
Walter Studios, yeah.
Yeah.
That would crush. But there are some warehouse areas, Benson warehouses, a couple other places. But
Ice House events on Jackson.
Yeah, that would be taken up by PSG, or back in the day, like Sierra Nevada would. I mean, I was just thinking about. I think Sierra Nevada might have taken over the Fillmore in San Francisco. Priced out. There's no way that we're doing that ever again. Take over the world famous Fillmore Theater in San Francisco. Not going to happen again.
Yeah. Well,
with the meters, the meters, the funky meters. Proto funk band of 70s.
And they were playing there?
Yeah.
How fun.
Yeah, no, and the Fabulous Strings, that was in Denver, right? Bluegrass of note. I mean, they're marquee to me. I don't know if they're marquee to everybody else. Just don't have those budgets anymore.
No. Whoa.
So.
I mean, we're already booked out through 2028.
Yeah. So.
Wait. 6, 7, 8. Yeah.
Yeah, that's 3 or 4 years from now, 5 years.
They're working on those contracts right now.
Yeah.
Maybe. Seems like they would always run out 3 of them, and then you'd have to wait.
Yeah.
But if you're telling me, I didn't know about San Antonio.
Yeah. No, that was the talk.
Cool.
What else?
Last year they did a big This Is Indy fun presentation at CBC.
Yeah.
They didn't do that for Philly.
No. They had somebody from the Philly Convention and Visitors Bureau just sitting there in a booth, and there were some signs. Oh, they did a slide. They did a slide. There's no video.
Yeah.
They're like, we're Philly, man. We don't fucking,
Indy,
we don't fucking do videos.
They're like, everyone knows who we are. Indy maybe they needed to work it a little harder. I don't know.
Yeah. Back in the day, if it got out that we were talking about an uncontracted CBC, I'd probably get more trouble with a couple people at the BA, but I don't care. I don't care anymore. Those guys are gone. I mean, they literally tried to disguise. They didn't talk about Indy until. They didn't want to talk about Indy until after or towards the end of the conference, like you said. They wanted to announce it. I'm like, everybody knows about this. They thought people would make a choice. I'm like, yeah, of course people are going to make a choice.
They were going to make a choice when they were at Vegas.
They were worried that people would look past Vegas to go to Indianapolis.
Oh, 10-4.
Or vice versa. I'm like, okay, well,
it's always
a choice.
Yeah, I mean that's. Anyways.
It just goes back to the nature of sometimes they have to be accessible for everybody, and sometimes I don't think they always have to be affordable to everybody. I really don't.
Well, Philly will tell you that.
I also don't think the educational materials have to be accessible by everybody in terms of like, you don't have to cater to the lowest common denominator all the time. I think you can have ones where people just need to catch up a little bit.
Like the 200 series of yeast management, or
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know. Like,
I think it's pretty wide already. Like there are
Yeah.
basics, there are more advanced, like
sure.
how to throw a trivia night at your brewery is definitely something that I think has been done several times.
Yeah.
Enough.
You want to do it next year?
No.
If you said, hey, you would do it if they asked you.
Anyways, that's fine. That's fine.
Well, I mean, to me, it's like, it's not what you get out of the presentation in and of itself. It's what you make out of it. I mean,
You can sit and listen and don't do anything about it. You're not.
as soon as you sit in a presentation and you can tell it's not for you, and you see someone else walk out, you can go, hey, I walked out too. What?
Oh yeah.
Start a
I've
conversation.
walked out of plenty.
But you can automatically network with somebody who, and like, well, what should we do about that?
Right.
Maybe the guy just says, no, man,
I thought
I'm
I was
hungover.
I thought I was supposed to be in the presentation about merchandise, and
Yeah.
here we are at trivia. Damn it.
It's not always the presentation, it's what you make out of it, who you meet, who you talk to, as you know.
Yeah, I mean, the presentations I went to were guild presentations, and that was it. I do prefer listening to the audio recordings of the seminars.
Yeah, because these are more conversations. Like,
Yeah.
you can literally just stand up and say, I need to say this. Because we're talking about 40 people or less.
In the
Sometimes-
room?
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, it depends on the session, but sure.
No, I'm talking about our sessions, our by design. Fewer people. People you know.
Yes.
People you wouldn't mind just
Spending
interrupting.
4 hours with.
Yeah, or just interrupting and saying, that being said, I didn't do what I said I was going to do. I didn't network as much with people in the media. I was going to have 7 beers with John Hall, and I only got to 4. I did talk to Don Say. I did talk to
M.
Souter.
Souter.
But I didn't talk that
Rebound
much.
guys?
They were kind of aloof.
Okay.
And I didn't see, shook hands with, as we were kicking out Dave Infante from our session, because he didn't belong. I said hello.
Oh, yeah.
But they had a whole how to engage the media thing, which I will listen to, and I will talk to Kate Burnell, who's there.
Doug Velke was there.
See? That was an opportunity you missed.
I said hi.
Yeah. So
He had some interesting newsletters lately. He did one that broke down the numbers
yeah.
of the economics of beer these days. He pretty much like summed up Bart's presentation. That was
Yeah.
really good. And then he has another series on why this brewery basically quit social media and is focusing on the newsletter that they can control and their website that they can control rather than
Is that Dovetail?
yeah.
Yeah, I heard about that. Are you subscribing? Are you paying for the subscription?
No.
That's something we should consider.
Yeah.
He would be an excellent person to bring to our hypothetical conference.
Yeah.
And maybe we could do a trade or something too. But yeah. All right. Well, I'm good. We didn't talk about very many specifics. Is there any other thing that got left on the table that you wanted to talk about in terms of Indianapolis or what's next?
The Rathskeller was cool.
Rathskeller was cool. It was a little frustrating that we were stuck inside. They have a wonderful beer garden. We were there on a Monday, and
Yeah.
someone had bought out the entire thing, and they weren't beer industry. I'm like, who in the hell on a Monday afternoon, early afternoon?
And it's not your conference.
Yeah,
buys out the beer garden.
It was Indiana University Medical something. It was a bunch of doctors, and they weren't even there yet. I'm just like,
They didn't want to kick us out though, because they knew we'd be there a while.
yeah.
And we were.
They were working on catering, getting all the catering and stuff ready. So, but I did peek out there.
Yeah.
What else? Oh, I don't know. We didn't. We went to the. We didn't talk about this. We went to the. We did a little tourism thing before our flight.
Right. We had a little bit of time to kill.
We went to the state capitol.
And before that, we went to John's famous stew.
Since
We went-
1911,
Yeah.
I had the beef Manhattan, which is basically an open-faced beef sandwich. Although it was a sandwich just covered in gravy with mashed potatoes.
Covered in gravy.
You had a fairly credible patty melt,
Right? No.
wasn't?
They
messed
did
it
not
up.
make it any at all like it said on the menu. I guess the cook was having a little bit of a day. That's what the
Yeah.
bartender said. It was still delicious. It was awesome, but it wasn't a patty melt.
Yeah. You know what I noticed about that place is, we're in Indianapolis. We think we're in the north, but like that had a lot of southern hospitality feel to it.
Yeah.
At least through the person that was serving us.
So we went to the state capitol, which
Yeah.
is 4 stories tall.
Yeah.
Tons of offices. Their courts are all there. More marble than I knew would exist on the planet in one building.
Yeah. Well, they are famous for. I think they're more for limestone.
It was
Quarry.
all imported. Built in 1888.
Yeah. Yeah, we have that question like, who has the most newest capital? And it's Florida, 1977, and I don't even know what it looks like. I'm afraid to look.
It could be pretty bad. I don't know.
We went to
It was
the-
beautiful. It was gorgeous.
We went to the Kurt Vonnegut Museum and Library, which
Worth the trip for everybody.
yeah, I mean he was a beyond just writing things post World War II, survivor of the Dresden firebombs. Wrote works of fiction, but had a social conscience to
Definitely.
them. Musician.
His time in Dresden made him not a big fan of war.
No. Just he was in pop culture of the 1970s. Like at a time when it wouldn't be uncommon for him to be on like the Tonight Show or something like that. A writer,
Right.
And talked a lot about the neighborhoods in Indianapolis and the Black experience in Indianapolis. The museum situated in a neighborhood where West Montgomery would play. So it kind of gave a context to our visit. And it was something that was kind of like, if we can get there, we can get there. I'm like, I would not miss it.
If you
It's
go to Indianapolis, go.
yeah, and you can have a beer there.
Yes.
You can have a beer
They
there.
have a
and-
bar in the museum and a beautiful patio around the
Right.
3 sides of the building. It was really nice.
We did a little walking along the river and the canals down there, which, we didn't
Lots of
get to
kids
do.
on field trips.
I didn't get to go to a couple breweries I wanted to go to, and it would have been nice. You know what? Didn't do anything with the 500. We went to Daredevil Brewing Company, was right there. It would have been nice to see
Oh yeah, the Speedway.
the Speedway.
I saw it.
museum. Yeah, I mean, but
Saw
it
some flags.
would have been nice to see the.
Little tour would have been cool, but can't do everything.
Yeah. So. I
Our,
would go
and then
back.
our plane got kicked back at almost 2 hours late,
Oh yeah.
hour and a half.
Yes.
So that gave us time to go to the Capitol. That was nice.
Yeah. Yeah, and we went to, what was it, 1933? It was the same company that does St. Elmo's and Harry and Ivy with the shrimp cocktails, which I had, you had. That was probably one of the nicest airport restaurant concepts.
Yeah.
Although you go broke there if your flight was really, really late.
Yeah. Delicious paper airplane.
I would also say security in Indianapolis was easy breezy for me. You had a little bit of somebody in front of you had a piece of luggage that kind of jammed up the system, but like took off. You get there, put all your stuff in a bin, it goes into a thing and it goes through this tube and like No issues.
Didn't have to take out your laptop. Didn't have to take
No.
out liquids.
Take all my stuff. I don't have to deal with a tray. It goes into a little conveyor belt thing and replenishes
And then
itself.
goes all the way back to the front, all without someone having to move them on a cart. It's
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah, very accessible airport. So I'll give that airport, to me, it was 9 out of 10.
It was nice.
No, that's
The restaurant we went to was definitely nicer than I
Right.
think maybe any restaurant that I've seen.
In
an airport?
Yeah, and we didn't even get to go to the Sun King. Well, we did. We pounded a beer.
I mean, at the gate.
So yeah, I mean, there's a lot of upsides to Indianapolis. I don't know if I didn't have a conference, I don't know if I'd spend that much time there, but things to do. I don't know about the rest of the state.
Rob, Indianapolis one-man CVB.
Hey, I'm just that's what it's all about.
Yeah.
All right.
Well,
You are going to Salt Lake City this weekend.
This is true.
I might go to Flagstaff today. I come back, I go to Atlanta. I'll talk to Joseph, our
Cool.
counterpart there. I'm going to, fortuitously, I had set up something with Mitch Steele during that time.
Awesome.
And
JP.
JP from Scofflaw,
We saw
formerly
him
of
at
World
the-
of Beer. I'm going to hook up with him a little
We
bit.
saw him at the conference.
Yeah. And a cousin of mine. So for the 2.5 days I'll be there, I'll have a full plate.
Whoa, that is a lot for that.
Yeah. So they all don't know each other very well. So
Right.
I'm not gonna put them all in a room. Like,
It's round table with Rob.
all right, man.
Okay.
Cheers.
Hey, think about this. It's not a beer podcast. It's a podcast about beer.
Cheers. Yes. And sometimes you find a beer.
Sometimes beer finds you.